I'm putting in, got it. I'm putting in, at Three Forks, Montana on June 6th and going to St. Louis. And who knows, I may just keep on paddling. I don't know yet. We'll see. I have a lot of commitments, but, hopefully I'll even make it that far. So I'm very excited, and, I just appreciate all of your everything, and you guys are just incredible.
So
And
are you.
I'll keep my questions for, I just have a couple,
Do it. Shoot with one.
right now, or is everyone just going to introduce themselves?
No, just do that. We'll do it as they talk.
All right. Okay. On the Mississippi, it seemed like the wind was horrendous, and I know the winds are like 100 times that on the Missouri and with the large reservoirs, but does it settle down at night? Like on the Mississippi River, it seemed like it was blowing like crazy, and then at 6 o'clock at night, the water would turn to glass and things would like calm down. And I often night paddled on the Mississippi, and I just was wondering if that might be an option, or if anyone has ever done that on the Missouri. So
Dave Hillman, do that. Answer that one.
So Annie, it depends on the weather front itself. Most fronts,
Right.
summer fronts behave that way. They blow during the day, and when the sun goes down, they lose that energy to do what they're going to do. And I've done some moonlight paddles, but I never did paddle. The one thing I double check, most states like Iowa has very specific rules on what your lighting needs to be.
Yeah.
And so double check with the states you're going through. I think most of them, it's a white light 360 degrees, but just double check and see
Well,
what
and
that
that's
is.
why I'm
So no one gets
asking.
on you.
Yeah, because, I have the bow red and green light, and I've got the white, stern light and that kind of thing, but I haven't mounted them yet. And I don't know if I want to do that on my Seawind, though. What's another hole, I mean.
Well, so you can get light towers that like a plunger, they'll stick to your
Yeah, that's
your
what I've
deck.
got. Yeah.
Okay,
that's
you
what
don't
I've
need
got.
a hole, they just stick. But Iowa
Right.
requires 360 visibility of one white light.
Yeah. And then now, are the bugs like wild, crazy at night? Like, do they come out in swarms like they do on the Mississippi?
Depends where you're at.
Okay. All right.
Below,
Just the.
yeah, below Fort Peck, I tried to get eaten alive, and then that was my worst ones below Fort Peck. It was horrible. And
Because I
then
tell you, I think the only thing that's going to take me off this river is an injury, and I'm doing some strength training right now with my rotator cuffs and my arms and everything, and core and the whole bit. But I just don't want to battle those winds, so I'm just praying that the wind gods will be kind.
rule number one, you're not in a hurry. Two,
Right.
for the bugs, I also had a bug suit. Steve, did you wear a bug suit? You and I had similar times we were hitting bugs off and on.
I don't have a bug suit, but I've got that, and it's the rhino skin, which works because I know a guy that paddles up in the Boundary Waters, and he's allergic. Like when he gets bit by black flies, he literally like goes crazy. And this rhino skin is like a tight, it's the whole thing. So I'm taking that. Doesn't weigh much. So, but
Hey, Annie, on those
What's
lights, this is Bill.
Hey, Bill.
I'm bringing mine. I'm bringing mine that I use on the 340, which are these little LEDs.
Yes, that's what I got.
Mounted just with like Velcro, so you don't have to drill anything. And
Okay.
they pack up really light, and they've been legal in Missouri. I can't say, but they give you 360 around. Yeah, I can send you a link on.
Yeah,
where
thanks,
we
Bill.
get
I mean, I
things.
actually
Is
have
there-
one that glues, but there's an option that you can kind of make a drill as well. And then I have one more question. And I know Steve Snell, I really appreciated your series, man. I mean, it was just so well done. And I mean, it was just amazing. But the one video of you capturing when you got caught in that squall on the water,
That was
Where
the
you-
breaks,
where
yeah.
you were like freaking out saying, a tornado, or I
There
don't know.
wasn't one, but it looked like one for a minute.
I know. Well, what I'm saying is like, do you hear or see those coming, and any tips, or has anyone ever swam as a result of a squall and that kind of thing? Love to hear the good stories,
Just
you
a
know.
couple quick, there's a good video. I'll show you the link. It was posted on the thing of Churchill Clark entering in to Fort Peck Marina. He's like 5 miles offshore. And when I don't know what they call it, not like a squall, basically instantaneous 100-mile-an-hour winds. And he managed to video through the whole thing, capsized in his dugout.
my
And he's in
God.
8-foot seas and hanging on. It's pretty epic, but yeah, they do come up that quick, but you
I
can
would love to
usually
see that.
see that anvil shape of those, those
Yeah,
intense
yeah.
storms
Like a
coming.
tornado, Steve.
Yeah.
It
I
was,
was making, yeah.
yeah, I mean, that was an intense day, or two, actually. That lasted for 48 hours in the White Cliffs area. And I was really grateful I had a rudder on my boat when I paddled those 2 days, because
Yeah.
the guided crew behind me, like I think two boats dumped, and it was just hard to stay upright
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
winds.
Well,
I got
you know,
lucky overall with severe weather, though. I think like I was like
no,
eating
you
prime rib
painted
at
the whole way,
Peggy's
dude.
when
I mean, you were
storms
like
came
in
through, or
this nirvana, you know, I mean, it was crazy. I mean, I really enjoyed that. I really did. But, Janet made a big deal about it, and I don't know if she's not here. And, she's like the bomb as far as the trifecta rivers and paddling, and she had mentioned those things. And so I had started, so.
Well, one thing, Annie, wear your life jacket
Oh, hell
every
yeah.
single day.
Oh,
The
yeah.
other is it's your comfort,
Yeah.
Steve, you must have got hit that must have been the gale force day, because I was huddled down in Woodhawk Bottom. But I mean, I learned really quickly, let the weather tell me when I should be on. The other is I'm really comfortable in ugly water because I whitewater paddle. So it goes to where you're comfortable too. If Larry, oh good grief, Norm, who was with us? Larry? Was he their third? I saw
Maybe.
Larry. Yeah, I saw him out in 30-mile-an-hour winds as I was sitting in State Line Marina in his C1, and he was doing fine. He wasn't making a lot of progress, but he was comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Gary and Linda, you guys were in a tornado or two. Do you have any comments on your fall weather technique?
Well, we took our time when the weather got bad. If it was looking like the weather was going to be bad, we stayed closer to shore, and we had no trouble getting off the water and getting back on an hour later and getting back off an hour later. And we were in a canoe. It would have been very different if we were in a kayak or a sea wind or something like that. But in a canoe, you can swamp very easily, and so we were pretty cautious about that.
Yeah.
We paid a lot of attention to the weather. The thing is, you can pay all the attention in the world to the weather, and something can come out of nowhere. And that happened to us the one night when a tornado came through. And we wouldn't have known about that. We were camped by a boat launch, and luckily a pickup truck drove up and said, "Hey guys, hate to wake you up. This is 12:30 at night." Said, "But if I were you, I would take shelter in that cement vault toilet just up on the top of the hill." And so for the rest of that month, we pretty much tried to camp by these cement vault toilets.
Yeah.
Because it's
Linda,
I mean,
where
it's not
was
fun it's not fun to sit there for an hour in a stinky toilet. And if
Yeah.
you do have to do that, be sure you choose the women's, because it's a lot better smelling. But
no
I
doubt.
could have saved our lives.
Note taken. Well, where did that occur?
This was on Lake Sakakawea.
Okay.
Do you remember? exactly when?
Peggy's country.
Yeah, it was after Peggy.
Peggy's country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the lakes are probably, as far as wind goes, they're the most difficult. We did the Mississippi as well, and I thought the Mississippi was much easier than the Missouri.
Sure.
So in
Absolutely.
terms of weather and
Big water, big country,
Well,
everything.
Linda, you said
Yeah.
it best. The lakes are unique. The lakes just add something we don't see anywhere else.
they do.
Hey,
Well, Linda, I used to work for the Corps of Engineers, so what my resource manager, my boss actually was from Missouri, so he knows a lot of the people. And when I told him I was going to paddle the Missouri, he just was like, he just shook his head. So I'm like, all right, well, whatever. Yeah.
Andy, I got another part to that question you mentioned about paddling at night.
Yeah.
And I got a question. If Jimmy Manuel, are you there?
Yep.
I know you've done a lot of night fishing on Fort Peck. Is there much motorboat traffic on that reservoir, or say even like Canyon Ferry at night? Have you done
No,
much?
very little, but they all those big walleye boats get going right about before sunrise.
Yeah.
So that's when you gotta be careful. If you get up early and try to make a crossing across, especially Peck, those guys are going down the lake. They're going 25, 30 miles to go to the fishing spots, and they're moving in this kind of dark. So you gotta kind of be careful then.
Yeah.
But they're not really out at night. And if they are, they're going slow.
Yeah.
Hey, for the group, there are one thing for night paddling though. What was the two lakes above Lewis and Clark? Because they had a lot of stumps.
Sharp.
And a night
and-
paddling,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that wouldn't be a primary for night paddling because of those stumps.
Yeah. Yeah. Case and sharp.
Yeah, I didn't
Sure.
never heard of a lot of people paddling at night. I know Tom Bailey did Peck at night. They had a full moon and it was glass.
Yeah.
I never did.
Well, you know what? And I also really appreciate it. I don't know if anyone's watched Dale Sanders, Graybeard DVD that's out, which is just phenomenal. And what was so cool about him, 87, is like when they got tired, he'd just lay out his tarp and he'd just take a nap, he'd get off the water and just crash. So I'm gonna just listen to my body and listen to Mother Nature and just kind of take it, as it is. So.
Well, Annie, I'm with
My
you.
plan.
I'm actually am planning on doing some night paddling there. I don't know if you've ever done the 340, but that's one of the best things about the 340 is paddling at night with the full moon. So I'm
Nice.
hoping to do that on a calm night or two out here.
Yeah. Well, Bill, where are you? Why can't we see you?
Well, I'm actually down at Lake of the Ozarks right now, and I'm working this over my phone. So when I had my video and audio
Alright.
going, I was only getting every other word. So I turned my video off, and the audio is coming across a lot better.
All right. Well,
So-
that's all I've got, Norm. I'd like to hear from all the veterans here. Hey, Tina.
Hey, how are ya?
I'm good.
Tina,
Hey, Norm.
good to see you.
Tina's
Good
in
to
the
see you
house.
guys.
Little different weather than last time you were here.
I see you still getting snow, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's filling up all the rivers, so that's good. We
That
need
is true.
So Norm, talking about snow and river levels, I'm looking to take off June 1st. I mean, is there any concern I should have that with the snow melt and rivers being too high?
You're leaving for Three Forks, right?
Yeah, I was thinking Three Forks are
We kind of lost you. You there, Bill? I think we
He'll
lost.
come back.
Yep. I'll wait till he answers that because that's his question. Anyone got another question? Who else is paddling this year? Dave Ketchum, you want to introduce yourself, or if you don't mind?
Yeah, hi. I'm David Ketchum. I live in Missoula, Montana. I am submitting my PhD dissertation draft tonight and defending it next Friday. My celebration for myself is to leave computers behind for a month. I want to paddle from probably Clark Fork Reservoir or Clark Canyon Reservoir, maybe part of the Red Rock River and the Beaverhead, Jefferson, and the Missouri to Williston, North Dakota. So I'm planning on doing that in a Winona, a 15-foot Winona Wilderness Royal X to Three Forks, and then from there take my 18-foot fiberglass touring kayak to North Dakota. I have a lot of river experience in Montana, but not any long haul experience except for 2019. I did the Northern Forest Canoe Trail, which was a pretty grueling month-long trip in May in a dry suit. So I'm looking forward to paddling downstream more than upstream.
Cool. Welcome.
Good.
Thank you
We've been
for
in
having me.
correspondence. I hope a lot of that information has helped that I sent you.
Yeah, I've been studying. I would like to do the route under my own power, which means portaging Great Falls on foot. So I just found out today that the canoe cart that I use, the Seattle Sports canoe cart that I have in Vermont, where I grew up and where I did that Northern Forest Trail. Well, I left the cart with my dad, and he tried to ship it today, and it was $200 to ship. So I'm on the market for a cart. And then thanks to Norm and everyone else on Facebook who responded with really large amount of good information about doing the portage through Great Falls, which unfortunately I haven't quite had time to really bite into. So I'm looking forward to learning more about that, given the information on the Facebook post. And it's a cool group that you have, and I appreciate everyone pitching in to let me know how to do this.
Yeah, awesome. Anybody want to respond to any of that?
Dave?
Hell, I'm lazy. I had Jim and Phyllis. I just threw it on top of a truck and went down to Carter Ferry.
Yeah.
And it was everyone has their own trip. They it didn't bother me to miss 10 miles of the river. So it's up to everyone. It's kind of what you're looking for. But the water, the rapids at Morley Dam are class 3-4, and they will shred a boat. Given the way we load boats, if it was just a whitewater trip, go through that without problem. But you're not going to do that in a loaded expedition canoe or kayak.
Norm, when Mark Karsh came through, he was doing source to sea.
Yep.
And we moved his boat. But he moved him, he hiked the,
He walked.
yeah, we had his boat.
Yeah, great. Yeah, so
By the way,
so Dave Ketchum, if you decide you don't want to do the manual portage, Jim and Phyllis. And,
maybe I will. Another really nice person said, "Hey, I have a steak and a beer for you in Great Falls, and I'll give you a ride." I remember when I did the Northern Forest Trail, it was 750 miles, 250 miles were walking, and a lot of people stopped and tried to put my boat in their truck and haul me over, because that's 14 river systems. So it's a portage, a lot of portages. And some of them are single track, like a hiking trail. Others are a logging road. Others are on a highway. And people are really friendly, and they see you walking on the highway and they want to give you a ride. So sometimes it was hard to turn those down, but I did succeed in turning them all down. We'll see if that happens again this time. I'm older.
Steve Snell, didn't you tell me you caught like a motel that night? You hit the portage. You did something I think was a little different than some people.
There's a Best Western right at the portage. Like I literally brought my canoe and locked it up on their gate and went out and got pizza that night. It was wonderful. Then I got Jim and Phyllis gave me a ride to Carter's Ferry the next day.
So Jim and Phyllis, are you still, Jim's in good health? And you guys,
Well, we're facing a little bit of health issues, but as long as everybody can load their own boat,
yeah,
we'll haul. You know, we have a covered pickup, so all the gear goes in the back and the boats. We can take 2 boats, or we can bring the canoe trailer and take 6.
okay. All right. Now, do you have a phone number?
It should, yeah, let me give it to you. Ready?
Yes.
406 727
Mhm.
2762.
Okay, thank you.
And Annie, make sure you bring your own straps. Jim
I
and Phyllis
got 'em.
have their truck very padded, but you need straps to rig it up.
It's in
Well,
my
we
rodeo, dude.
We use ropes, remember?
I brought cam straps. They're a lot safer.
Actually, I'm hauling my boat all the way out there from West Virginia, so I'll have straps. Don't worry.
Getting it crazy.
Well, if everybody knows a trucker's hitch, you can use our ropes.
Perfect.
That would be my first problem.
Hey, Bill, you got booted, but to answer your question, you're back on, right, Bill?
I am back on. Yeah, I dropped off there.
So that high water, yeah, that's all good. It's gonna be
June
good.
first?
That'll move.
Don't worry too much about it.
No, it's gonna fill up the reservoirs. You're gonna have plenty of current. It's not gonna be over full. It's not gonna be like the Yellowstone or any of that. It's kind of nice when, well, Gary and Linda, I remember when you guys launched from Three Forks, the parking lot was underwater and you made really good time, I think all the way to Great Falls. How many days did it take you to get to Great Falls?
Oh, boy. 5, maybe?
See,
5,
that's-
6?
Yeah, that's a couple less than normal. So you guys
Yeah, it was
took advantage
fast.
of that. Yeah. You didn't find it challenging then leaving Three Forks at high water, or other than it being fast? Yeah.
Once you get on the water, it doesn't feel that fast anymore. It just feels normal. I remember standing in the parking lot going, whoa, what are we doing? But once you get on the water, it's fine.
There was one bridge that we went under that didn't have quite as much headspace as I would have liked to have had, but we ducked and went under. So,
Well,
yeah,
Bill,
okay.
I went last year was low water. So the 2 places you'd like to avoid is the Delta coming into, oh, good grief. What's the first lake?
Canyon
Canyon
Ferry.
Ferry.
Thank you. The Delta coming into Canyon Ferry was a trick, and the Delta coming into Sac on the way down to River Mom. Luckily, the Yellowstone was at flood, or that would have been really tricky. So having a little more water will make your life a lot better.
In 17, when I went through, it was higher water too. It was kind of neat paddling along and thereby through Craig and hitting 14 mile an hour in a canoe.
Yeah, that's right. You made a really good time.
Peggy, you're on mute, Peg.
Peggy,
Peg, you're on mute.
hey, Amanda.
Hey, guys. Peg, you're still on mute.
Annie asked to post those that are paddling this year. If you go to the bottom right of your screen, if you could post your phone numbers. That way she can keep it. All of you guys should have each other's numbers. It's kind of nice to pass along information or intel that you encounter along the way. So if you guys want to type that for her in the corner.
How did you do that, Norm?
Yeah, I don't see how to do that.
Through the
either.
chat.
Just do it in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh,
through the
okay.
chat.
Chat thing on the
Bottom.
right side, bottom right of the screen.
It's in a different spot, Norm, depending what they're using for their computer.
Yeah. Anyway. we'll
Okay,
get
for
those-
those, for
Or
those that are,
my number's posted right there. So if you want to just text me or call me, that's cool too. or not?
Talk, Peggy.
Well, I was just gonna say, for those that are coming down, first, Bill, why are you not coming to Tobacco Gardens? You're missing the best spot on the lake.
Oh, I
That's
am,
just-
Peggy. I'm planning on coming in.
But if you stop in Williston, you won't paddle to Tobacco Gardens.
That was Dave Ketchum. So Dave
Oh.
maybe needs to go another day, right?
Yes, he
Okay.
needs to go another day, but this is my word of caution for those that are coming. Dave, you're right, the mud flats are still gonna be the mud flats. The Delta, you need to stay river right. Do not. If you guys go river left, I can't get you. I honestly cannot. I did too many rescues last summer. And the last one, we had to get the sheriff involved. And we were out there till 2 a.m. Just telling you, River Mom,
Everybody
Doesn't wanna
raise
do
their
that.
right hand.
yes,
That is the right side. Stay right.
right
Stay
side.
right.
That's,
I
That's
actually
the,
ran middle,
U-bend?
I
Is
ran
that the
middle
U-bend you're
left, but I
talking
had
about?
all the water in the world, so I got to cheat.
You did cheat, babe.
I did cheat. Oh, yeah.
I was middle, right down and then right, same thing.
This is on Lake Sac that you're talking about?
As you come into Sac, as you come off the river into the Delta,
I
you've
will.
got 10 miles of some pretty, the amount of tree debris should be a little cleaned up, but I went through, that's what Yellowstone had all pooped all over that area. So it was pretty weird to see all these skeletons running around, but that'll change with the spring flows. Just
Yeah.
got to be careful. That's a big mud flat. That's just a big Delta.
And if you guys would call me before you go into that mud flat, so I can at least pay attention and figure out where you might be stuck to get you some help, that would help me and help
and
you.
Peggy, is your phone number unchanged? Has it changed?
No, my cell phone number is
Yes.
701-570-9398.
Okay, Roger, got it.
That's all I got. I'm listening.
We actually really enjoyed the photos of the fan boat when you rescued Miriam, and I haven't seen one of those boats since I watched the movie Gentle Ben.
Oh my gosh. It was quite the experience, let me tell you.
Norm, you have a sadistic streak. No one wants to be rescued by an airboat.
Heck, that's gotta be the same friend you were gonna send to save Graham when his spot stopped moving.
Well, Graham laid in that mud flat for 4 hours, and if he hadn't had a spot and I hadn't been following him and he finally got to the edge, I was gonna send the airboat out for him. So,
No
Yeah, no
airboats.
I'll never forget her in that boat with her apron on when she came looking for me as I paddled into the cove she was in. Standing on the front of the boat leading the way.
oh, guys.
God bless you, Peggy. And hey,
I
there
just
are a
love
lot,
y'all.
there are a lot of bills. Bill,
There is, I noticed that too, Annie.
there's
We got a
so
lot
many
of
bills.
going.
What bill is paddling?
Bill
or-
Behrens is one. I don't know if the other bills are not, but Bill Behrens is paddling.
Okay. And Bill Burke, you're a veteran, right? You've already done this deal.
Well, I don't know about being a veteran, but I paddled the Mississippi from source to Gulf in 2019.
Okay.
And I'm 81 years old now, and I plan to paddle the Missouri for the first time. So I'm not a veteran on the Missouri, but I plan to paddle the Missouri this year. And I have a few questions. If this is the right time, I'll
Do
ask.
it. Go for it, Bill.
I want to thank everybody first for everything you do to help us, for all the information. It's very valuable, and especially Norm. I don't know what we would do without you, Norm. So kudos to you and thank you.
Thanks.
My first question is, somebody mentioned in this call a couple of videos on weather. One I think was Steve Snell and Norm mentioned one. If it's possible, I'd really like to get a link to those videos because I watch all this stuff. I do a lot of research on my trips. I want to know what I'm getting into, and I'd love to see those videos if they're available on YouTube or anywhere else. So that's my first
Yeah, I'll
question.
find them. Just took note of that. Yep. So Bill, you're leaving, you want to try to leave in like 2 weeks, right? From Three
Well,
Forks?
that's my second question, Norm. My plan is a hope and a dream, I guess, more than anything. I would love to leave in mid-May. This is because of other commitments later in the year. But if that's crazy to do, then I'll reconsider. But my current plan is to strap my canoe. I have a 17.5-foot C1 Clipper canoe, which I used on the Mississippi. It was a beautiful, beautiful boat. So I can't find a way to ship it. No one's going to Three Forks. So my current plan is to strap it on top of my Subaru and drive it to Montana. And I'd like to launch sometime around mid-May if that's feasible. If not, I'll have to reconsider.
Bill, it's feasible, but you got to deal with cold water and cold air. So, I mean, I'm not one to paddle in a dry suit, and I do half the year, but just make sure you take, because cold water shock will kill you in 10 seconds. So you've got to be dressed for the swim. And again, when did you leave on your source to sea in the Mississippi? What time did you leave on
I
that?
think, if I remember right, I think it was in July or August.
Okay, so you missed the initial, because like this season, they're still stuck up there. They're getting snow now. So a lot of the Mississippi guys are backing off a little bit. So just the coldest night I had was 40 and I left June. That was in Gates of the Mountains. And I got there about June 7th or 8th. So you're going to see freezing temperatures for at least a couple weeks.
And that's in Missouri. You mentioned the Mississippi. You're talking about the Missouri River?
But the Missouri, yeah, you're going to see, because until I started looking at a map, we're closer to the Canadian border than one would think. You're way up there. So yeah,
Right.
you've got to deal with cold water immersion and being able to get dry at night. So as long as you can plan for that. But people have been when I left in June, there were a couple people before, like Steve and I and Larry got going, they got snowed on. They left like the third or fourth week of May, and they got snowed on before they got to Fort Benton.
You will, it's perspective though, right? Because I went into December and January down by Memphis and Mississippi and I got snowed on and 22 degrees overnight. So I think, and I didn't have a dry suit. We're fearfully and wonderfully made. And I think if you're prepared, I will echo what David said. If you're prepared for that and you know what the worst can be, and you're like, Norm, you tell me, because the worst mistake I made was leaving too late, I think, when it was a drought year and my trip ended up taking longer than usual. So I'm not as scared as the runoff as I was before my trip. I would be more worried about not being prepared for the temperatures, because getting stuck on the Mississippi River, even in the South, in freezing temperatures absolutely sucks.
Yeah.
And
But
it's dangerous. You
survivable.
got to deal with it. Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
survivable. If you're
There's a
prepared.
lot of people that leave in May. In fact, looking at the last 6 decades, the most common date to leave is May 14th, which is the exact date Lewis and Clark departed St. Louis. So I think they do that as just a traditional thing. But yeah, I've seen plenty of snow in May into the 1st of June, but it usually melts off quick. It's not like you're going to have the lakes freezing on you or anything like that. You just have to have a warm sleeping bag and warm, like Dave said, warm clothes, and be prepared to, if you're wet, to change clothes. And you might have to mail all that stuff home when you get to North Dakota when temperatures start, getting up into the 70s, and you don't need that winter sleeping bag anymore. But, yeah, in Montana, you never know what our weather's going to get. It's 71 degrees last weekend. This morning, the ski area 20 miles from my house got 27 inches of snow last night. You never know what's gonna happen.
And
Jim,
Norm,
Emmanuel. I was just gonna ask
Sorry.
Jim real quick, is Canyon Ferry still frozen?
Yeah, it's still frozen. It's frozen from about silos north all the way to the dam. And
Wow.
there were people ice fishing a couple days ago. But
Wow.
and today we had sideways snow and about 30-degree temps. So I don't think we lost any ice today.
Do you think
Hey,
that could go
Jim.
out in a good week of 60 degrees though, all that ice?
Yeah, but next week is supposed to be high in the 40s
Yeah.
all week, and we
Yeah,
have
it's
a lot of
cold.
ice. It's gonna hang in there, but it should be gone it'll be gone by May, I think. So
Yeah, okay.
Hey, Jim, are you gonna be helping us around Canyon Ferry? or
you
not?
bet. Just give me a call, and I'd love to help you any way
Okay.
I can and paddle with you.
It'll be me and Ann Ogg who's on.
Hi, Ann.
Yeah. And
Yep, you guys just let me know and plan on having a room to sleep in and for a couple nights, and we'll just, because I'm only about 8 to 10 miles from Canyon Ferry Dam and Hauser Dam, and I'm about 20 miles from Holter Dam. So
Sweet. Thank you.
wherever you need.
Jim, I'm gonna be talking to you about some fishing info in a little bit.
Fishing?
Fishing info.
I don't know anything
I'm
about that.
I'm having the worst time trying to strip down my fishing gear I'm bringing. I might have the most fishing gear anybody has brought on a trip like this. I don't know.
You know what? You don't need much. You just need something to hold your rod and throw it
Yeah,
out.
well,
You'll catch fish.
Yeah, yep.
Don't bring a dog named Merle.
Yeah, don't. Well, I'll bring Merle.
Inside joke. So, Bill, any other questions? Bert?
Yeah, I had one more, and that's a question of what people are doing for navigation. When I was on the Mississippi, I had all the maps, Army Corps, whatnot. And I found that the most useful electronic device I brought with me was my iPhone, because I could look at Google Maps and figure out pretty much any time where I was. And as long as I could see I was on the Mississippi and not up lost in some tributary, I felt pretty safe. And that worked really well for me. I didn't need all the maps and whatnot that I brought. I'm curious on the Missouri. I mean, I've downloaded maps of the lakes, navigation maps from point to point. I know there's GPSs you can buy and whatnot. And so my question is, how are most people navigating? I'd like to avoid bringing the heavy maps if I don't need them. So that's my question.
Dave Hillman, can you answer that one?
So mine was a split trip. So everyone said Verizon, I had Verizon for cell phone carrier, I'd be okay. I had zero
Right.
coverage in Montana and I had nothing unless I got near something big. So I wouldn't rely on signal, but if you can download the maps to the phone and use it off the phone, works just great. I used maps all the way down to Lake Sac. And once I got down to Peggy, then I just tripped over to I used my InReach GPS the whole rest of the time. I just quit looking at maps. It was just simple to do. There's not as much the Mississippi, I'm used to, if you can get off course, there's lots of ways to do it. The Missouri is a little more straightforward and it's not as confusing, though the area around Springfield, when we got near Springfield last year, low water, it got weird. And especially when Norm tells you go for the silo, there's only 3 of them, or water tower. There's only 3 water towers, Norm. Which one were we supposed to go to? But
Yeah, there's 5 different choices for left.
yeah,
right.
exactly. But otherwise, yeah, I only use maps the first 4 weeks, and then I just lived off GPS the whole rest of the time. Even where Annie had me on Hog Bayou down in the Chafalaya, that was a simple GPS. I got it right, Annie Hog. That was a simple GPS route. In fact, I found that better than I think the map. So that's what I did.
Did you download the maps on GPS on your GPS?
I had them downloaded, but I always had signal because you're talking to the Iridium satellite system. So I always had signal. I never had an issue of connecting using the GPS unit. Steve, what'd you do? Because you did some
I
different
used a
stuff.
Garmin InReach Mini. It was just a little GPS thing, and it paired with my phone. And I found it really helpful. I mean, it was nice because I didn't have it was like in place of the spot tracker, it did the same thing. You could send SOS messages and things like that, depending on your plan. But I found it really helpful going around the UL Bend. I think that was the only place on the whole river where if I wasn't looking at my GPS, I could have, is it the Mussel Shell?
Yeah, you get
Like
in toward the Mussel
I
Shell.
thought, I mean, just looking ahead and looking at my maps, I thought the Mussel Shell was like where I needed to go. And then I'm looking at my GPS being like, no, it's saying it's this way. And I'm glad I listened to my GPS that time.
So Steve, did you use your InReach then, Mini, pretty much exclusively?
Pretty much exclusively. I mean, on the lakes, Peggy gave me some maps and I used those to like map out like where I might stop and camp. But on yeah, I mean, just referring to maps, I'd use that. Or actually, I used Google Maps quite a bit when I had satellite, but that was to scout out campsites because I like to sleep on sand. So I'd be on the satellite view looking for where I might find a nice sandy camp with no car access and things like that.
If you have Google Maps, do you need internet, like Verizon internet capability?
Well, if you want
I
to see
thought
where
it-
you
I thought
are
that
relative to the map, I
satellite.
think you do. Like
Are
you,
Yeah, you will have to have internet to use Google Maps, but
You will.
Yeah.
I think that's why I would argue that at least two sources. I wouldn't go back out there without two sources. We have them at our disposal, so something to bounce off of each other I found very useful. So there were often times I did take, to David's point, the Corps of Engineers maps too. I didn't pull those out as much unless I was trying to see what places I could stop or seeing the wing dams. If I wanted to see the layout of the wing dams in a particularly risky area, I would use those. But the satellite maps and the GPS bounced off against each other. I had low water at the top of Oahe, and so my trip was like this. And I was like, I got off on one wrong track only for a minute. And my GPS is what pointed me back to the channel, even when I didn't have a signal. And so I think I don't know, use the tools we have at our disposal. I don't think overkill is necessary, but I do think bouncing two data sources off of each other at least has worked for me.
I think, Bill, the other thing is your GPS. By rule, I have a river plan, and my river plan was when I got on the river in the morning, I SMS text my son. When I got off, I text him. So that was my river plan, so that he knew where I was. If nobody else did, was following the track, and that worked very, very well. And you can't necessarily do that with a cell phone. You know, with your GPS, depending on your subscription, like Amanda said, you're locked in. You're never going to miss an Iridium satellite. There's just too many of them in the
I
sky.
have an InReach Mini, I think Steve mentioned, or I have an InReach Plus. Steve mentioned he had the Mini, and I think I definitely would benefit from that.
Steve's got younger eyes. He can see the minis.
Hey,
Yeah.
Tina.
I use the eTrex is what I had, and that my phone, and then I had the Spot as well,
Yeah, I have the Spot
and
too.
they fed off each one.
Okay. All right.
So nobody's doing it old school?
I was planning on that, but my wife told me I'm not. She wants that text every morning and every evening.
All right,
So-
2004. Well, I still don't know how to use a GPS. I didn't have one in 2004. Here's what I used. This is just one of the lakes. Like this is, what is this? Lake Sharp. Here's Big Bend.
Yeah.
I had paper, all the maps. The court sent me all the
Is
maps.
that a core map there?
It is. I don't even know if they do them anymore since the internet's out. They may all be
Yeah, I couldn't
online.
find those.
They- You guys, they do make them. They do. I just got 6 of them at Tobacco. But they're dated 2005.
Yeah, this is 2004, this one. So
I know. They're dated
Yeah, I've got a-
2005.
anyway,
How do we know Big Bend is still even there, Norm?
I can't answer that.
I should have walked across that thing, man.
No,
No. who was it? John Johnson did and said it was the worst thing he'd ever done in his life.
Yeah.
Why would
river
you do,
tour.
why would you do that to save 25 miles?
It'd
Right?
make a great
I had-
chapter
I
in our
had
book.
the most beautiful day of flat water, sunny 70-degree day that day, and the shore is beautiful. If you get a smooth water day around Big Bend, I have never seen anything like it.
That's cool.
Hank just ran alongside the canoe the whole way.
Wow. That's awesome. Next question. Anyone else? It's got to be some questions here.
Norm,
Yeah, I got a question.
I'll
Go for
ask
it.
my last one, and that is wheels. Do we need to bring wheels, or can you beg, borrow, and steal your way down by calling people and begging them to portage you? Because I've got wheels, but they take up a lot of room.
Someone else want to answer first?
Yeah.
I would always be prepared with wheels. Me.
Heck, yeah. I'm,
Yep, agree with Amanda.
You're gonna get, you know, you'll find there's always somebody to help. But if you want to wait around for hours, you know, wheels like Amanda said, wheels enable you to be as mobile as you do or don't want to be. Just if you have wheels that are pneumatic, they're full of air, have a patch kit, have a pump. You know, a lot of us use solid wheels to avoid that. But yeah,
Right.
you could be setting for a while if you don't have wheels.
Okay, thank you.
Well, here's
Like-
here's another thing. I brought wheels for the first day. And of course, my first 3 portages, my wife portaged because I live right near the dams. And I got rid of them. I never had to wait more than 15 minutes for portage around the dam. And I didn't want to strap anything on top. And I didn't miss them one bit. So everybody's got a different way of doing it.
Different
Yeah.
perspective.
well, that's just your charisma and your good looks, Jim. there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just want to pick you up everywhere you go.
Well, I
You got
stopped
an old
at,
lady paddling down the river. I doubt I'm
Oh
gonna
my-
get any,
Oh my
have
God.
a lot of drive-by.
Oh, my goodness, you'll get help. My
That's
God.
right. I'm taking my wheels. Listen.
And I did have luck at the
Right,
boat ramp.
Amanda? In the military, it's like, hey, you got to have
Be
your own
prepared.
back. You know what I mean?
Well,
I turned down more offers to help because I forget who, if it was Steve, I think, who said I wanted to do this under my own power. Somebody said that earlier. That was how I started the trip. And so
Like,
I
no.
found polite, creative ways to turn people down. Norm knows because I met him on the river. I was like,
You
"Norm,
turned
come
Norm
get
down? Wow.
And the
I
only ones
did.
that
Where
are
were
really
we,
rough
Norm?
are the big dams. You know, the big dams can be some long portages, but like Tonston,
Austin.
whatever,
Boston.
that too.
Austin.
You know, the little ones aren't as bad. The Canyon Ferry, I took Jim and Will up on it because that's a really highly driven road. It was just safer to be with them. But you know, the Holter Dam, that was a really nice portage. It was neat. Almost stepped on a snake. I mean, it was a cool. So having your own wheels can add different things depending on what kind of trip you're chasing. And if I didn't have, I was going to dump them in Memphis. It turns out the old lock was under construction. It'd have been a long portage around that darn lock.
And also, hey, Norm, what's the paddling group again outside of Bismarck? The something.
Bismarck Yackers.
The Bismarck Yackers, if you guys get on their Facebook, I've already got portages for all
Yeah,
the big reservoirs. They all
That's a-
reached out and yeah, I can't
That's a
believe.
funny story because Bismarck has always been a gray area for paddlers. They can't get anybody to help, no place to camp, can't find any river angels. Even when I went through there in 2004. And then a week and a half ago, the person that created the Bismarck Yackers joined our group, the Missouri, and said they got 2,000 members in Bismarck that are paddlers. It's like, and none of them have ever heard of you through paddlers coming through. It's just so weird how it happens.
Oh, they're gonna get.
When I
flooded
met you,
this year.
when I met you on the river though, Norm, I didn't know the Missouri River Paddlers group existed either. So 3 weeks into my trip, I'm like, oh, there's this whole resource out there.
Wow.
And then didn't I send you Dave Miller's book to Peggy's?
You did, and thank you
cool.
to you and Peggy. I just sent that. I forget who I forwarded that on to. Somebody who was paddling, I think this year. I don't know if they're on here tonight, but
Yeah, who else is going this year that hasn't commented? Anyone else? Dan,
Yeah,
are you going this year? No? Willie, are you paddling this year?
Next year.
Next year. Okay, cool. Planning ahead.
Hey, one thing about the portage, if you guys bring your own wheels and you're gonna do your self portage, you're gonna miss the best experience of the whole river is a portage by Will Garvin. So
Well, no, listen, Jim, Will
Oh,
has already reached out to me and wants to help me I thought he was
Good.
supposed to be at Great Falls or something, but he's wanting to help at Canyon Ferry. Yeah. But
that was a
Yeah.
case of a river angel had to rescue a river angel because Will
He's
put his
not
truck into
on
the
right
gravel
now.
and Jim had to pull him out. So then they could both portage me at that day. It got to be fun chaos all at once.
no, actually, I'm calling you, Jim. All right.
I'll call Will. You know, when Will portaged me, he came down there with a truckload of PVC and we had to build the portage rack.
No, hell no.
yeah, that's encouraging.
Jim has racks and a big truck and it's
There you
really
go.
nice. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Oh my God.
I'm going to interrupt, guys. I'm sorry. I've got to interrupt. I've got a 2-hour drive left to go home. I'm parked in a parking lot. But for those that are paddling, you're more than welcome to ship supplies and things to Tobacco Gardens. And you're also welcome to leave stuff and then we'll ship it home for you. So there isn't that worry. But when you come to Tobacco Gardens, we'll treat you like royalty. And we hope you'll enjoy your travel.
River Mom, you have one rule and whatever you say goes and don't argue with you at any point ever.
Why would you, Dave?
I
Dude,
tried
good
and
idea.
I was trying to be nice and I just gave
Matriarch,
up. It
for
just,
God's sake.
that woman could load 5 grocery carts in ways you have no idea. I got to help her on shopping run. It was amazing. It, yeah.
Dana, don't say a word.
The grocery store trip. Yes.
What is this?
Well, from Phyllis and Jim to Peggy, one river angel to another, we're gonna have to come to Tobacco Gardens. I hear about it all the time.
Well, we'd
Yeah,
love to have
Union
you.
at Tobacco Garden. Yeah. Rendezvous.
But there's a couple things else I gotta say. Norm, quit laughing.
No,
Dave,
you can't see it.
No,
I
he's
know.
starting
Oh,
T-shirt.
shirt.
like that.
That's
Okay,
the next rendezvous.
there. Dave Hillman,
Bye,
you
Peggy.
have hair.
Oh,
You
it
have
grew
hair.
back. It grew back finally.
Steve Snell, you have hair. But not as much.
Yeah, but his
Hey,
is
I
still the
got
right color.
left hair.
Got a huge-
All right. This river angel has to go home. Love you all.
Good to see
Good to see you,
you.
Peggy.
Thanks.
Here, Becky.
See ya. Phyllis, I'm coming your way one day.
Well, you're welcome here.
Just like I surprised Norm.
Great Falls has lots of stuff to see if people are sightseers. We also have really good access to resupplying food and water and all of that kind of stuff on our way to Carter Ferry.
Us river angels gotta stick together.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Peg.
Love you all.
Questions? Who else?
Yeah,
Bill?
I got a question about,
ahead.
I had to take a CPAP when I did the Mississippi,
Uh-huh.
and it was easy to recharge no more than every 7 days. Unless I get stuck on a lake, is that going to be something that's going to be an issue? Would I be able to get someplace where I can recharge overnight, at least every 7 days, you think?
Can you recharge your CPAP from battery pack?
No.
Okay.
No.
You're gonna want to
I have
plan a
a-
little bit then.
I have a marine battery that
Oh, okay.
holds the charge for 7 nights.
Yeah, you'll be
It's I
3
just
weeks
have to be able to
without
recharge the battery.
power on the upper Missouri unless something's changed. Or I was, maybe Norm, you know of places that I could have hiked that aren't close, but it was 3 weeks solid before you get another AC plug-in.
Yeah, Fort Bend to Fort Peck Dam, yeah.
That's farther
be
than
3
7
weeks.
days.
Oh,
Trying to
it
think
took
what's
me
between
4
Fort Benton and Three Forks.
So you'll be out of power between those 2 points.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Bend.
There's 2 dirt roads basically, and that's it.
Well,
You
what
say Fort
about,
Benton.
what about Cascade?
Cascade's
you're-
fine.
Yeah, that's
Right,
up,
but
up above
that's-
Great Falls, yeah.
It's above grade. I'm trying to think it's be between Fort Benton and Three Forks.
You know, the
Fort
breaks.
Peck, you mean, right? Like Fort Bend to Fort
Judith-
Peck would be the time I would
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
you'd be needing a lot.
So
That's
my last cell signal was Loma, which is north of Fort Benton. And then I got a cell signal back at Devil's Creek, I think it was, Norm, correct me if I'm wrong, in the middle of Fort Peck or at the beginning of Fort Peck. Devil's Creek on the south
Yeah.
shore
Yeah,
is a campground.
Jim's texted me from there. He's been
Yeah,
over there.
Yeah, there's a short window of about a half mile right there at Devil's Campground where we have
Yeah.
cell service. It's probably the only place on Fort Peck where you'll have it. And it's right between Fourchette Bay and Devil's whatever, right in the middle of the river. But there's no power there, but there is cell service.
But there's power at silos. You could stop at silos somewhere in there. There's also somewhere along Canyon Fair, there's a couple places you could get power potentially. And then, oh, good golly, where the Yellowstone comes into, that's still too
Yeah.
far down. But there's power at silos because I charged up there.
Your biggest gap is Fort Benton to Fort Peck Dam. There's no
Yeah.
buildings except one house in McClellan Ferry. You might be able to go in and ask for,
and good luck
but
with that.
yeah,
Depends on the mood she's in.
if you need it, I don't know, maybe can you get a second marine battery? Is that too big?
Well, I don't know,
Heavy.
because I did Mississippi in a Old Town Next,
Uh-huh.
and I'm not doing the Missouri in that because it's open the whole way, and I just kept getting swamped whenever there was any waves. So I want to try to do this in a kayak. So I might be able to take a little bit more equipment because I was sitting so low in that canoe with my gear.
Hey, Willie,
but-
were you with the Sean Gobin's group?
Yeah, I did
All
2 years
right,
ago.
Yeah, you know what? I did that too. That's who I started off with, and I went rogue after 3 weeks, man. So
Well, I
Anyway,
tried staying
just-
with them for a bit, and then I went rogue.
anyway, so yeah, when you said an Old Town Next, yeah, just get yourself a decent boat. Lord, I broke
Yeah.
that seat and everything else like within the first. It was. Anyway, that's
Yep.
another
And
story.
then-
It's nice to meet you. I wish you were going this year.
I wanted
I'm,
to,
I'm
but
a
I broke my
retired
leg.
anesthesia. Yeah, I'd hook you up, with your airway issues.
Oh.
Anyway.
Yeah,
Or-
I broke my leg March 18th of last year snow skiing, and it's still broken. I can't lift more than 15 pounds,
And
so we're still trying to figure that out. So I'm kind of in a pause right now, so extra planning. But if anyone is going to be near Leavenworth, towards the end, Leavenworth, Kansas,
yeah,
I am 5 minutes from or 10 minutes from where I can pick you out. And I got a place where you can stay, you can shower, do your laundry, eat.
well, put your number in the chat, would you?
Yep, will do.
The
Yeah, I
campground at
almost wound
Leavenworth
up at
is really
Leavenworth.
nice too. You were gone
Yeah,
Willie, when I came through. We missed each other, but that campground, even if there's no open sites, the campground custodians will put you up no matter what. They treat through paddlers really well, and they have showers and water and juice. So Leavenworth was fun town. I walked around it for a day.
Yeah, it's
A lot
nice.
of history.
Just on a side note, Willie, 4 of the people that went last year, including one to the golf. Well, Amanda, you were actually the year before, but they were all in canoes. just to, they
Yeah,
weren't.
we're old now, right, Norm?
Yes, Steve Snell, you were in a Winona, well, you're in a prism.
Prism. I loved my canoe. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
Amanda, Tina was in a canoe. You had a Winona what?
Sundowner.
Sundowner.
As a dedicated kayaker, you people are all weird.
But you
There's
know,
pluses and
there's
there's pluses and minuses. You can haul a lot more gear in a canoe, but you also have to portage it. Kayaks are kind of self-limited on their gear. So,
But
well,
Dave,
make
I
sure
could
you're
take
18
those
feet.
4-foot waves. I
Oh, I
could take
just
those
cut through
4-foot
them.
waves any day.
But I cut through the same thing. The guy, I got to remember, waves don't. I'm probably got a different skill set than most. Waves don't bother me.
You
Well,
definitely.
I had a day.
Yeah.
I had a day where all I could see for about 20 minutes, 4 feet above my head, was the tops of waves and sky, because I got caught on an outside turn where I shouldn't have been, 3 barges, and there was 25-mile-an-hour wind. So there was already white caps. I was trying to get off the river. That's why I was in the outside bend, and I'm taking waves over the front, over the side. So yeah, I want to try to get something closed next time, because that scared me.
Much nicer.
Yeah.
Well, you could do a combination duck canoe like Bill Burke is taking, or Jimmy Manuel he used to go to the Gulf. Combo boat.
Well, in
Yeah.
in Graybeard this last year, he did a canoe and he just put a cover over the entire thing.
Mhm.
So I'd looked at that option as well.
That's what
Um,
Steve Snell had last year.
Yeah.
I really appreciate having the cover on the lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So
cover was
Ellen's-
nice.
Ellen's not here, but she's really sold me on the ones with the rowing sleeping cabin too. That might be my next craft.
Transcontinental, huh?
I'm telling, no, I don't need to do that. I'll leave that to her.
Yeah.
I don't need to log 7 years of my life, but if I did the Yukon or whatever, the next thing might be.
Hey,
It's
listen.
kind of nice to have a sleeping cabin when you can't find a camp, because that's what stressed me out the most, is coming up on dark and not being able to find a suitable camp. So, yeah. I don't know
Steve,
what
what
those are
kind of
like.
boat
in
did-
college. What's that?
What kind of boat did you have, Steve? Snell? You said Steve had a canoe with the.
Yeah, I had a Winona
Cover.
Prism.
Say
Not
that
off-
again. I'm sorry.
He had a Winona Prism.
Winona Prism. There's a guy, actually, I saw someone who was in Kansas City at the river cleanup last Saturday from Missouri River Relief, and they're trying to sell a Prism if anybody's looking for one. I'm like, put it on the Missouri
Steve, you
River Paddle
retrofitted a
Group.
rudder on that, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a rudder put on there. There's some guys in Kansas City that kind of have the MR340 market for outfitting canoes with rudder.
Yeah, all the rudders.
And then I bought my cover was from Red Leaf Designs, a guy out of Michigan that will make custom covers for canoes, and it worked out pretty well.
Any other questions?
Amanda,
so-
did, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Steve, are you in Kansas City?
Indeed. Yep, I'm here.
Can I get your number? And I'd love to, if you
Hey,
can,
everybody.
link up with you somehow, because I'm pretty
Sure,
close. to
yeah,
Kansas
I can
City.
share that with you. I'm happy to help anybody coming through Kansas City. Just
I just want to try to get a better boat.
Any other questions?
There you go.
Hey, look at that.
Actually, well, no, you know what? It's all good.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I
Ask
was
us.
actually thinking, because I don't know if, I'm sure many of you know Sarah Dykman, who wrote Bicycling with Butterflies, and she did the Missouri. Well, she's planning and is, saving money and stuff, but she's going to be doing the Yukon next, Amanda. So we're actually,
Oh, really?
so we're looking at doing a women's, no offense, guys, but maybe like a women's
is almost uncovered completely.
Yukon trip. So,
Keep me posted.
well, I have to survive this one first, but we'll see.
You'll do
You'll
just
be
fine.
great. You guys are gonna rock this. It's gonna be, I don't know. I look back and I'm like, did I ever really live before this? I don't know.
I know, I know. Y'all
And I
are-
put,
Everybody-
gang, when you get down to Iowa and Nebraska, I'm on the wrong side of the state. But if you can give me any kind of warning, Wilson Island is not a bad, it's a pretty short portage from the ramp to the campground. If you need resupply, I'll come over and do whatever I can. It's just, I'm a 4-hour drive. So you just got to give me some kind of warning and I'll try to get over and assist if you need something. But I put my number and stuff in the chat.
Yeah,
Did
you
you
know,
shut my back door?
What's that? Repeat?
so David, you know, with you playing so much, all you're doing is kayaking and having fun in retirement. It's about time you do some service work and, you know,
Go into
be
the
a
garage,
river
right?
angel now, give back. You know what I mean?
Turn to go out that door.
I've got 5 kayak trips this year, whitewater trips alone. So
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. You're
Leave it
playing
alone.
too much.
I'm
It's time
just
to give
making up for
back.
lost time.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a 4-hour drive. You know, it's not that bad. I can bring animal crackers.
Oh, Lord.
They make a good river treat.
Hey, question for Amanda real quick. Are you there?
I know you just chatted me. Is that for me?
You got your
About
book
the
in
book?
front of you?
Yeah.
I have one. Give me a second.
You only need one. So those that aren't familiar, Amanda did Source or Three Forks to the Gulf of Mexico 2 summers ago. She's the only one that went all the way solo, and she just wrote a book last summer, and I was gonna have her do
Start
it.
to see, right?
Put your book up on front there. Let's see it. Where are you?
Amanda, if you can't find yours, I've got your copy, or I've got a copy of it here.
Yeah, I want
Really?
mine autographed, Amanda. So you're gonna have to find me.
I'm gonna have to come visit all of you. I didn't know so many river angels and paddlers were in Missouri. I grew up here and I never knew all this existed. So I'm still like in awe.
Hold your book.
Norm,
Yeah.
didn't you give her the name for the title? Digging Deeper?
I don't think so, but
I think she mentioned you in the book saying thanks
Yes,
to you.
you did.
Yeah,
I
Norm.
did. There it
There must
is.
have been too many
There it is.
PBRs, man. You're
You
forgetting.
did. The way the
you're
conversation
doing.
went, I chatted him and I'm like, hey, Norm, read this 175 pages and tell me what you think. And he's like, I don't have time. No, he wasn't. He did read it. But for the title, I was set on Dig Deeper. And Norm was like, how about Digging Deeper? That has better ring to it, I think, was what you said. And I was like, that's totally true.
Wow.
Sounded better. So
Well, all I'm doing is writing my obituary before I leave, so maybe you can help me with that, Norm.
God. Please.
I'm joking. I'm
God.
joking. Come on.
I know you are.
too
So it's
close
gonna be
to home.
A good year. What, 6, 7, 8 of you, I think? Headed
Who's all
out.
going to the golf? Who's stopping at St. Louis?
Torrin Lokes, the Canadian kid who's gonna finish, from Pacific to the Gulf. He's gonna continue from Jimmy Manuel's house, basically, where he lost his canoe last year, and then go to the Gulf. And then
Did I miss that? How did he
lose his canoe?
oh, I don't know.
Oh,
Jim,
come on, Norm.
You know.
Don't leave us hanging like
know.
that, man. Come on.
who wants to tell the story? I
wanna
wasn't there. Jimmy Manuel.
Hey, I'm not judging. I lost my canoe too. So
Yeah, that was quite a
We
story.
didn't
Dick.
actually lose it. We didn't really lose it. We
No,
just
it was
destroyed
snagged. You got it back. It's all good.
It was more like shredded.
No, really, what happened? Like, because we can learn
yeah,
from
what
it.
happened?
Don't take a footage from Jimmy Manuel when he said 10 PBRs.
Okay, wait a minute. So what time do I need to call you, Jim? And are you gonna
Or-
remember me?
Early morning's better because
Okay. So like before noon. Okay,
yeah, and
Oh my goodness.
all right,
we'll tell you the story when we see you.
all right. Sounds good.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
man.
Any other questions? Come on, there's
Comments
gotta
or
be something.
concerns?
Well, for those that are doing it this year, if you would not mind, post your link, especially if you're using InReach, using a Garmin, because we will track you, and you would be amazed how many people track you. It is fun. So we get to relive. Some of us get to relive our journey through you, and others get to pre-learn it before they take their own journey. So if you don't mind, post it, and yeah, some of us are going to follow people.
So David, where do you post it? I have a website with a blog. I run a blog on all my trips and it's on my website, but where do you?
I just know that the InReach gave me a address, and that's what I put out on Facebook to apparently half the world. And then you just put that address in and you can follow every day. You can watch the link. I had friends telling me when I went by Omaha, the airport apparently jams GPS signal because suddenly I disappeared from the map for about 10 miles and then I reappeared. And I didn't go through any black hole doing it. So yeah, their InReach will give you a link and you just post that link and we all can use it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
my
when you set up
website's-
your account,
Bill, post your blog here soon before you leave on the Facebook group if you can.
Okay.
Or send me the link. I'll post it. That
Yeah,
way.
it's 8 summits. You have to spell out the 8, EIGHT summits.com. And then in that website, I have a blog I run where I blog all my trips. And then I also use Facebook to send photos and videos and short messages.
Great.
I think
On
posting
your
stuff on
InReach,
stories.
under the social tab, that's where
Right.
you set that up. So just dig it out of that.
Okay.
Well, Dave, I'm using the Zoleo satellite system and only 5 people can track me. So you're gonna have to get up there on my list to be one of them.
Well, that or post some stuff every once in
Oh,
a
I
while.
will. I mean,
You've
Norm's
got
already
you've got my email. Just text like when you're getting near Wilson and I'll bring over whatever you need.
all right.
Do I get the Zoleo? Am I in one of the top 5?
Yeah, you're in. You're in. Yes.
You just made Norm's day, Annie.
No, I mean, it's a satellite number I can give to everybody, but they only allow for 5 people. Safety purposes.
Well, folks, this is Phyllis and Jim, and I think we're gonna leave you. So we'll see whoever's going through for a portage, going through Great Falls.
So much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks for
All right,
doing.
yeah.
Thanks for doing.
all right, bye, Phyllis.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Norm, is this? Ooh, there's a big echo. Am I the only one hearing that?
No, you're good now, Amanda.
Too.
Okay. Is this the Q&A only for those paddling this year, or can I ask
No,
you the
anybody.
question?
No, anything.
Steve,
Ask.
where's all your artwork? Do you have a website or something where you're posting all that stuff?
Yeah, all the paintings are on my website right now. I can share that in the chat. And then
Oh yeah, would you?
I'm preparing right now for a number of art shows. It'll go through the Department of Conservation all summer. Here, it'll
That's-
start in Kansas City. Then there'll be so there'll be a small show in Kansas City in June, and then it'll be in Jeff City in July, and then back to Kansas City. So basically, yeah, through the year, we've got a number of shows.
When
lined up.
when in July for Jeff City? Because I'm down in Branson or outside of Branson. I can come up there for that.
Okay, yeah, I'll find out the exact dates. It's in my email somewhere, and I can if you send me, or is your email on the chat already? I can add you to a list that I've been making for people that are interested in the art stuff, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
send
I'll
out like
shoot
a
it to you
schedule
separately.
of all the events, because yeah, I'll do I'll show some videos down in Jeff City at that it's called like the Rung Conservation Center, or it's through the
That would
Missouri.
be awesome.
Mhm. Yeah.
We only got a small taste, like following your trip. So now I'm like, what else came out of that?
Yeah, well, and then
I'll see any of it.
I'll start sharing videos soon. I've been cutting together episodes of this painting show that it's like the concept is every episode will be a different painting made on the river, and there'll be 11 episodes in total, like from Three Forks to St. Louis. So I'm just behind schedule because teaching takes up all my time right now. But I've got about 5 episodes like that are in draft form. If anyone wants to like just see like a draft, I'm happy to send you a private link. I'm just not ready to like put them on YouTube yet.
Yeah, I want to see it. And behind schedule is a way of life for me, so I won't judge.
Well,
Thank
Steve, you had a painting of something in the breaks, and I'm gonna tell everybody which one I'm looking for, but I'm waiting to see if you put that one up for sale, because it's already purchased if you do, so.
Oh, wait a minute, it's an auction. We get to bid, man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna work
David.
some other angle, that, you
Get the
know.
number. Mm-hmm.
Thank
Do
you.
I hear $100, $100, $100, 150, 150, anybody, 200.
I'm building
Yeah.
frames
Truck
now.
sold, $200.
$10,000.
Right.
Well, listen, before I sign off, Tina, is there anything you'd like to share? Because this is so wonderful seeing you and talking to you. I mean, I feel like I know you already because we've texted so much and everything, but any best time, worst time story on your trip?
Oh, there was so many, we don't have time for this. Everybody be dropping off real quick.
Okay, okay, all right. Well, maybe someday, huh?
Only thing I can tell everybody is make the trip yours
Yeah,
and just take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
It all comes together. So
one way or another, yeah.
That's a good comment to leave on, I think. Unless there's a definite question someone has. If not,
I just want to say I enjoy seeing you guys that I know, and looking forward to seeing the rest of you this summer.
And Norm, you have the next
Thank you.
rendezvous starting to plan out, right?
no.
No pressure.
None at all. I'm covering 2 nights of the barbecue, so that'll take a little pressure off
I'm
you.
still in therapy from the last one. All good. Anyway, yeah, we'll see you, Annie, in June, and Ann and Jimmy Manuel. I may see you tomorrow. Anyway,
Hey,
if anybody's
Norm,
down my way, look me up.
well, I'm definitely looking you up because I might have to leave my boat with you.
Yep, that's not a problem.
All right, Chick, I appreciate you.
All
Hey,
right.
Norm, how far are you from Three Forks?
45 minutes.
Oh, Lord, okay. All right, so we'll see you on the 6th.
Yep.
As
All
long
right.
as the heat don't rise.
Good to see all of you guys.
Love you
Good to see
guys.
everybody.
Bye,
This was
guys.
fun.
Everybody.
Thanks for joining.
Everybody, thank you.
Best
Thanks,
group of river
Norm.
rats
Thanks for putting it
ever.
Together.
See you on the river.
See ya.
See you guys.
Bye.
Good night now.